The ceiling was a blank canvas for every unfinished task Alex had ever abandoned. In the profound stillness of the night, the white expanse transformed, projecting a phantom to-do list written in the stark, accusatory ink of memory. Sticky notes materialized in the dark, their neon corners peeling away from some unseen surface. Blinking red notification dots pulsed like distant, angry stars. Half-written emails scrolled in a silent, relentless ticker tape of professional inadequacy. The silence of the room was not silent at all. It was filled with the frantic, phantom clatter of a keyboard and a low, rhythmic thumping that was less a heartbeat and more the ticking of a bomb wired to Alex's own anxiety. The project for Henderson. The name alone was enough to tighten the muscles in Alex's jaw. It was a beast of a thing, a sprawling, multi-limbed creature of deadlines and dependencies that had taken up permanent residence in their prefrontal cortex. And the email from Davies, the one asking for clarification on a point Alex themselves didn't fully grasp, remained unanswered, its draft window a ghostly presence that hovered just behind Alex's eyelids. Each time sleep's gentle tide seemed to creep closer, the memory of that single, blinking cursor in the reply field would surge forward, a digital siren pulling them back into the wakeful, churning waters of their own mind. Frustration was a hot, coppery taste in the back of their throat. They rolled over, burying their face in the pillow, but the internal noise only grew louder. It was a cacophony of open loops, each one a melody left hanging on a dissonant chord. The quest for mental peace felt like a distant, mythical shore, and Alex was adrift in a sea of their own obligations, each wave a reminder of something else left undone. All they wanted was a single, uninterrupted moment of quiet, a switch to flip off the relentless internal monologue. But the haunting was persistent, a spectral burden of potential and procrastination that refused to be ignored, ensuring that the night would be long and rest, a forgotten country. The blue glow of the laptop screen painted Alex's weary face in the pre-dawn gloom, a digital campfire in the dark cave of their insomnia. Desperation had driven them from the torment of their own bed to the vast, interconnected library of the internet, typing fragmented queries into the search bar. Why can't I stop thinking about unfinished work? Mental tabs won't close. Brain stuck on open loops. The answers were a muddle of self-help platitudes and pop psychology, until one phrase, stark and academic, appeared like a key sliding into a long-locked door. The Zeigarnik Effect. The name belonged to Bluma Zeigarnik, a Soviet psychologist from another era. In 1927, she had made a simple, brilliant observation while watching waiters in a bustling Viennese café. The waiters, she noted, possessed an almost preternatural ability to remember complex, multi-item orders, but only as long as the bill remained unpaid. The moment the transaction was complete, the details of the meal, the specific cuts of meat, the precise wine vintages, evaporated from their minds as if they had never existed. The task, once open, consumed mental real estate. Once closed, it was purged to make room for the new. Alex scrolled further, devouring the details. Zeigarnik had tested her theory in the lab, giving participants simple tasks to complete, but intentionally interrupting half of them. The results were unequivocal. Those whose work was left unfinished recalled the details of those tasks with nearly twice the accuracy of those who had been allowed to reach a natural conclusion. The explanation was a revelation of cognitive mechanics. An unfinished task creates a state of psychological tension, a subtle cognitive itch. The brain, in its relentless efficiency, flags these unresolved matters, keeping them active in the working memory, a mental sticky note it refuses to let you lose. It was the mind's own sophisticated, yet brutally simple interrupt system. A perfect modern metaphor crystallized the concept. The brain was like a web browser cluttered with countless open tabs, each one an unpaid bill, a half-written report, a promised callback. These tabs couldn't be closed, and they drained the system's resources, slowing every other process to a crawl. Alex leaned back, the weight on their shoulders suddenly feeling less like a personal failing and more like a documented psychological phenomenon. A wave of profound understanding washed over them, a feeling not of despair, but of validation. The haunting wasn't a unique curse. It was a feature of the human operating system. The swirling chaos in their mind had a name, an origin, and a history. For the first time in weeks, Alex felt a flicker of something other than anxiety, the quiet, powerful awe of scientific insight. The theory was a key, but the lock was still jammed. Alex understood the Zeigarnik Effect, could trace its academic lineage and recite its metaphors, but the phantom browser tabs of their mind still flickered, refusing to quit. The knowledge was a map, but the terrain remained treacherous. Then the simplest of solutions presented itself, an elegant hack whispered from the pages of a dozen productivity blogs and validated by the very science Alex had just consumed: externalization. The act of taking the internal and making it irrevocably, undeniably external. A fresh, unlined notepad was placed on the desk with a quiet, deliberate finality. A pen was uncapped, its click a tiny gunshot in the silent room. And then Alex began to write. It was not a process of creation, but of exorcism. The project for Henderson, with its three core deliverables and its looming deadline, was the first to be banished from the swirling chaos of Alex's mind and pinned to the page. The act of writing it down felt like pulling a thorn from deep tissue, a sharp, specific pain, followed by an immediate, spreading relief. The unanswered email to Davies was next, its vague anxiety now condensed into a single, manageable line item. One by one, the spectral sticky notes lost their adhesive, the blinking notification dots were extinguished. The grocery list, the birthday card to be bought, the dentist appointment to be scheduled, the book to be returned. Each thought was captured, its wild energy tamed by the simple geometry of ink on paper. Alex remembered reading about studies on mental offloading, how the very act of recording an intention signals to the brain that the task is safely stored, that the cognitive resources dedicated to remembering it can be deallocated. It was a transfer of custody, from the fallible, cluttered RAM of the mind to the infallible, permanent storage of the physical world. As the list grew, the mental noise didn't just quiet, it evaporated. The low, rhythmic thumping that had underscored Alex's anxiety for weeks softened, then stilled into a calm, steady pulse. The frantic, phantom keyboard clatter was replaced by the profound silence of a task completed. When the last item was written, Alex looked at the list, no longer a source of dread, but a contract for future action. A deep, cleansing breath filled their lungs, the first one that felt truly unburdened in recent memory. That night, the ceiling was just a ceiling. The shift was seismic. Alex slipped into bed, and the transition from wakefulness to sleep was not a battle, but a gentle descent. There were no phantom emails, no ghostly project outlines. The thought bubbles that had once crowded their consciousness simply faded, their translucent surfaces popping one by one without a sound, leaving behind a vast, peaceful emptiness. Sleep came not as an escape, but as an invitation, and Alex accepted, drifting into a deep, restorative quiet, finally liberated from the tyranny of their own open